second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Are there any noes? There being noes, motion passed. Meeting.
The only updates that I have is Mr. Suchovich is going to give an update on the audit, and the landscaping bids went out. We had a handful of landscaping companies reach back out for the specs, and now we're waiting to hear back. I would ask if Craig thinks this is okay, that council would make a motion to authorize us to hire the lowest responsible bidder at this next, once we get the bids.
Mr. Alexander, did you hear the question?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I heard my name, so I unmuted myself.
Can they make a motion to authorize me to hire the lowest responsible bidder so that we don't have to wait until the next meeting to hire somebody?
Absolutely.
Hold on. I understood from Matt's email that we have to give them 2 to 3 weeks, and he suggested we make that date May 8th, which would only be 5 days before we would meet on May 12th. Then everybody could have a chance to look at them, or, you know, by email or whatever, and make a decision at that meeting on the 12th.
Aren't we obligated to take the lowest responsible bidder?
We're not even obligated to do this the way we're doing it. We just wanted to. I'd like everyone to be involved. So I would say I don't agree to that.
If the bids are greater than 19,500, give or take, you're required to take the lowest responsible bidder. If they're under 19.5 but above, say, 11,000, somewhere therein, then you have to get 3 quotes, and you're supposed to take the lowest of the 3 quotes. If it's under 11,000, you can pick who you want.
Will the bids be under 11,000?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I doubt it.
I also doubt it. So
I don't
can
know.
we do this?
My understanding from talking to Matt is that it's a yearly contract, so that it's probably going to be up into the, closer to the top of the mid threshold as opposed to the low end of the mid threshold or the lower tier.
So we will be required to take the lowest bidder of the 3.
Most likely.
Then what's the sense in waiting if we get if we have to take the lowest bidder regardless?
We've waited this long. Why don't we just wait 4 more days and let everybody have something to say about the decision? I'm tired of having to make special arrangements just because things are getting out late.
Well, you want it done quick, so let's do it quick.
No, that ship has sailed.
Oh, okay.
What does it matter if we're going to
Take
take the
more
lowest
time.
bid?
Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, if we have to take the lowest bid and it's a responsible person that do it, I mean, what are we going to say? Oh, this person's better pulling the weeds, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be. You still have to do what you have to do, right?
It doesn't need to be a unanimous vote if we make a motion.
Does someone want to make a
I'll make
motion?
that motion to accept the lowest bidder and go with it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have first by Mr. Suchovich, second by Mr. Matlin. Are there any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Could we amend that motion to say that if it falls within the middle range that Craig described, I believe that's 11,000 to 19,500, where we would be required to take the lowest bidder, that we would go ahead with that. And then if it falls in less than that and we have a choice, then maybe we revisit it at the next meeting. Is that possible to do?
I don't see why not. Can we, Craig?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So the motion. Good.
He's thinking.
Wants to amend the motion.
I'm
to
just
say-
sorry. I'm just offering maybe a compromise here. That's all. But I'm okay either way.
Well, if it's going to be a lowest bidder option, then
thank you, gentlemen, ladies. Bye-bye.
all right, Craig.
Right.
I know he said he had to go.
No, he's talking to somebody else. Yeah, I think. Are you
Okay.
still with us, Craig?
You still with us, Craig?
Oh,
Hello?
yeah, the same issue I am. Trying the other speaker.
Craig, are you still with us?
Yeah, sorry, I had to end my other conversation. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave. Reiterate to Craig.
So could we, I'm just wondering if it's possible to amend the motion that, well, basically, so Nancy wants to review it if there's a choice to be made. So I'm wondering if we can amend the motion that if basically there is no choice, that we have to take the lowest responsive bidder, which would be above 11,000, that we go ahead and award it, immediately. And if it comes in under that, then maybe we review it at the next meeting.
Sure, you can do that, or you can review it, and if necessary, we can pull the board if you want to get started quicker.
So my question is, since these guys aren't cutting the grass, it might hover around that number. What if some of the bids are 10,500 and another bid is $12,000? So one bid is in that next tier and the other bid is in the lower tier.
But are these multiple year contract? Is this a multiple year
No,
contract?
one year.
So if
1 year, Jerry?
1 year.
Okay.
if you have one in the upper tier and one in the lower tier, you have to take the lower tier. If you have three in the lower tier, you can choose any of the three that you want.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay,
sure I
so-
understand why we would take less than the lowest, something that's not the lowest bid.
David,
Well,
I think what we'll do is take your amendment, add it to the motion, that if it's can be reviewed, it will be reviewed. Otherwise, we're going with the lowest bidder. Fair enough? Shaking your head.
Yeah, I think that sounds good to me. I mean,
Okay.
if everyone else agrees.
All right. Motion's on the floor, seconded by Mr. Mallon. All those in favor say aye. Are there any further questions first? Okay, no further questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Motion passed. Thank you. Okay. Anything else, Jerry?
No, I don't have anything else this time.
Okay. Dave Recupero.
Just a couple of real quick things. The new hiree, Fred, and I can't pronounce. I mean, I can't remember his last name. Is that Hockenberry? He'll be starting on May 4th, so we're going to get him rolling right into the job. He does have 5 years experience. And Jerry, please continue to put it out that we need more officers. I know the academies are down right now, but when they do open up and once they graduate, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people looking for jobs. So I'd appreciate if you continue to put that out on what you've been putting it out on. The borough tax extension, did we do anything with that? Where we stand with that?
We have not, but I saw an article today about Act 15. Jerry, with the taxes, you're aware of Act 15 and what we can do and what we can't do.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, the information is kind of tough, but what the governor is talking about is extending the discount period till the end of the year. And that there's also there's concerns with a lot of this stuff. I mean, but the only people that this is, go ahead, Craig.
Go ahead, when you're done.
I mean, the only people that this is really going to affect is anybody that doesn't have it escrowed in their mortgage. So we've seen a lot of revenue already coming in. All the municipalities are just kind of sitting tight and waiting for the governor, it seems, because everybody uses these tax collectors, and for the tax collectors to try to figure out all these different dates and extensions and all this stuff, there's all this confusion. It's the same reason why the earned income taxes had to be extended at a state level instead of per municipality. So I don't know if did Act 15 pass?
Yes.
my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, but we have to have a resolution passed by May 20th because the governor signed it into law on April 20th. And therefore we have to make a resolution as to whether we're going to extend it until December 31st or not. Am I correct?
That's right. That's why I had my hand raised. And I was going to say exactly what Pat said, that this, if the borough does choose to do this, it has to be done via resolution, and it has to be done by May 20th, because as Pat indicated, the mayor signed it into law on April 20th. And the other thing I was going to say is exactly what Jerry just said, is most folks have their taxes taken out of their escrow within their mortgage as well. So that's something that should be considered when considering whether to extend the discount period. We can do it at the regular meeting in May. We certainly have time if we're going to choose to do it.
Go ahead, Nancy.
All right.
My question is, this date of the end of the year, is that for the regular tax or for the discount?
Discount,
The discount's gonna go all the way to the end of the year.
correct.
And so what about the regular amount of the taxes?
Basically, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig, would mean that everybody basically gets the discount.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's good.
Makes sense.
Okay.
The other thing I have is, I think the board needs to think about, and I know the governor wants to open up slowly on May 8th, but I think the board needs to also, come May, I'm not saying right now, but think about when we're going to open the parks, and there's several events coming up in June. And I know it's a month and a half away, but I think it's something we need to consider, like the bike derby. And I know Intergroove wants to have block the street off and have their 1-year anniversary. So I just want to put that in the back of the minds of everybody. We would have to make a decision on, are we gonna, and when we're gonna open the parks up? Are we gonna have the different events? Because I'm gonna probably wait till July as far as our car cruise for the Chamber Conference and make a decision, because nobody knows where we're going to be, let alone today, let alone tomorrow. So if everybody could just keep that in mind, we could discuss that as, for next month's agenda. So,
Craig, did you want to say something?
When David's done.
Anything else, Dave?
Yeah, one more real quick thing.
Okay.
Mark Stanton has, he's our emergency management coordinator. He's updated us constantly, almost, well, actually 7 days a week on things coming out of the county. We all appreciate that. And I did send a letter out to the public on, social media, and I put in there for about how people could make a mask from the CDC. And I would just like to thank everybody, council for their cooperation, Mark for the fine job he's doing, and the public also for being very cooperative. And the food bank, they are getting low on food. So if anybody would like to donate again, we had a very overwhelming turnout the last time as far as donations of food. They could leave them at the borough building like you did the last time. They would appreciate it. That's all I have, and thank everybody.
Thank you. Go ahead, Craig.
Thanks. My understanding with the Act 15 is that the discount period is you receive the discount if you're paid by August 31st, 2020. But if you're paid by December 31st, 2020, there's no penalties or interest.
Okay.
That's what I understand the act to be.
Okay, so the discount goes to August, no penalties until December 3rd, after December 31st.
Correct.
Okay, so keep that in mind, and we'll vote on that on May 8th. Or no, May 12th would be the council meeting. Okay. David, as far as the events and things, I don't disagree with that and the parts and what has to be done, but I think a lot of that is going to depend on how the governor opens things up as well. And
Sure.
I think we have to follow some of that. And if you disagree, let me know.
Yeah, no, and I'm in touch with some, some of the local mayors, see when they're gonna open their parks up too, and then we can, go from there.
Okay. As far as the bike derby and things, I think, that, we have to make a determination here in the next week or so. So by May 12th, because
Right.
that's July, and we don't know what that's going to
Good.
bring, and we have to make a decision with that. So we'll think about that and talk with Jerry, also Sergeant Franco's, and see about
Right.
what he wants to do with that. If we need to put it on hold
All
till
right,
next
I
year.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all. Well, thank you. That's all I have. Okay. Dave Matman,
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
The first item I had was the landscaping contract, but Jerry already talked about that, and we made a motion regarding the bids. Second item I had was brought to my attention, and I think Janet's attention, by the rec board about maybe a month and a half ago, early March, about when they did a walkthrough, that there was evidence of some weed killer being sprayed around cribs, and it was a concern. And then it also came up in discussions with Matt about upgrading some of the fall surfaces and the mulching. And I don't know, we still don't know who was putting out the weed killer. I don't know if anyone has any info on that. Not really looking to get anyone in trouble here, but I reached out to Penn State Extension office in Allegheny County and found out that that basically application of any kind of weed killer in a public space like a park can't be done without a state certified pesticide applicator license. So I just wanted to point that out and just make everyone aware and be cognizant of that. That if you see someone doing that, I don't know who would have done it, but that just needs to be pointed out that it shouldn't be done. It doesn't follow the state regulations. Plus, it's a risk to children playing in the parks. So hopefully that's obviously not an issue right now with the parks closed, but just for future when they open up. The only other thing I had was just a quick update on some maintenance requests we've had from Rhoda and from the rec board with various things, public works and parks related. We had a meeting with the Parks and Rec Committee to discuss prioritizing some items, and then I had a meeting with the Public Works Committee, and I think we had some good discussion about things that we felt were important or that might be able to get done soon. And I've sent that list over to Jerry to review with the streets crew, and have any further review that's necessary. So I assume you received that, Jerry, and
I did. I'm going to sit down with AJ and go through everything and work out the priority list. Just as far as that weed killer goes, that was not the streets department.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that was the RAA or who that was, but I just want to clear the air that the streets department did not spray that.
Yeah, thanks. No, and I didn't want to imply anyone that did it, because I really had no idea, but I just wanted to make council and Jerry and everyone else aware, the mayor, that that was a concern. So that's about all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. I don't have a whole lot. The ordinance meeting that we were to have yesterday, we did not have because really nothing had changed from the month before, because all the courts had shut down. So there's no civil suits, no demo hearings, and things like that. There didn't seem any reason to have a meeting. So we'll probably have a meeting in May, but we didn't have one yesterday. The short-term rental ordinance, thank you, Mr. Alexander, for some amazing research on that. We will continue to work on that in the next month and discuss it at the ordinance meeting in May. And so that's exterminating. So that's mainly it from an ordinance standpoint. I wanted to say, or ask if you guys are getting the updates that I've been sending out from Jay Costa.
Yes.
For some reason, I don't know how I got signed up for this, but anyway, I send it to everyone. I don't know, do you think we should send that out? Should I send it to Jess to send it out? It's such useful information. What should we do with it?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much information out there between the governor's office and Costa's office and what Mark sends out every day that, you know, sometimes I think people were just overloaded. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be sent out, but I'm not exactly sure.
Well, whoever,
I think if you want to share it with somebody, you can share it on your own, Nancy. I mean, that's what I think.
That's my feeling. I don't have a problem. I just think that everybody, you know, should pick and choose their own on that.
Yeah, I think maybe sharing the information about how to sign up for his emails, and if you find them useful, that would maybe be something. I could see if Jess maybe wants to put that out on the community.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of agree that you know, not everyone's going to want to get inundated with the emails, and some people might want it, some people might not.
Yeah, let's do it that way. Is put the email out there for somebody if they want to, if they choose to take a look at it, then let them do it.
okay. I'll do that. That's fine. Just so that people in the audience also know that on Facebook on Friday at noon, Mr. Costa does a live question and answer via the comment section on his page on Facebook. So anybody needs a question asked or help, you know, from him, that's a way to get in touch with him on Friday at noon on Facebook. I did want to ask, I noticed that 515 East Railroad did finally get demolished. However, when I checked with Mark, there was no way to verify whether or not they did the extermination first, because that's an ordinance we have in the borough, that there should be exterminating before any demolition occurs. So Jerry, I don't know if you know anything about that.
It was part of the bid spec, so they knew very well to do that.
Okay. I also want to let everybody know and the audience know that the last I checked today with Mark, the number of cases in Verona, according to the official website where they put this out, we have no cases still in Verona. So that's what it's saying on the pahealth.gov, whatever website. And I just wanted to mention that in that list that Dave sent out about maintenance requests, the bare spot on in Railroad Park needs to be done probably fairly soon, like within the next week. The idea being that they stake it off, they put some like police tape around it, throw some potting soil on the top, and throw a whole bunch of grass seed, because this would be the time to grow the grass. So that I think Dave might have put that close to the top. And the other thing is, I don't know if you guys see this. There is a question about pesticides. Can you see this?
Does the borough store any pesticides, or is anyone on the crew certified to administer pesticides in the properties?
Within the municipality. So I just wanted to mention that there was that chat. Okay. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Suchovich.
No, Mike is next, I thought.
I got a few things.
I know, I'm just going around.
Very good.
Go
I
ahead.
got a few things. As we discussed in our other Zoom meeting, I'm going to bring it up now, though. The audit, I talked to Jerry. The audit for 2018 will be done by mid-May. He talked to the auditor. Due to the virus and due to the everything, the auditor's kind of at a, not a standstill, but his load is lightened up. So he's going to have 2018 done by mid-May. And then he's going to roll right into the 2019 audit. He has everything he needs for 2019. And he's saying that that should be done by the end of June. So if that's the fact, it might be a month late, but we'll be caught up with our audits. As the chairman of the finance, I'll follow up on the progress of all that with Jerry and the auditor. This has been an ongoing issue for a few years due to the how everything was when previous borough manager had left and the current borough manager took it over. There was some papers, there was some files, everything missing. So they got it, the auditor got it all squared away, and they've been trying to get it where they can get 2 a year done. That hasn't happened for whatever reason, but they got the audits to where we're at now. So hopefully by the end of June, we will have everything caught up. And then next year, hopefully the beginning of the year, we can get 2020's audit done and have it done by March. That's what we're shooting for. That's number one. Number two, talking about the Curtis Brown and the texting issue. Previously, the original bill was for $2,200, and that was for 20 to 40,000 texts for 2020. When all this coronavirus and COVID started, our usage was up. So Curtis sent another bill for $1,500 in case we needed to add on to that. Well, by the text we got from him, that's not going to be needed. Out of the 20 to 40,000 for 2020, we used approximately 7,000 to 8,000 right now. So if the numbers, it looks like the numbers are going to level out now because of the Corona leveling out. So it looks like we can delete that, eliminate that 1,500, and we're going to be with the 2,200 that we originally got. I do want to get with Jerry. I don't know if there's a contract with Curtis or not, and that's something that I didn't check with Jerry on. I want to check with him, and I'll have some info on that for the next meeting.
Just to clarify, there's no contract, but we prepay at the beginning of the year for the entire 12 months. So next January, you'll decide whether or not to extend it for another year. Like you said, the bill that we paid at the beginning was for 20 to 40,000 text messages. We were at, like you said, about 8,000 so far. It turns out that because the spike wasn't as bad as what was anticipated, that we do not have to pay the additional invoice.
You got to understand where I didn't realize, every time we send a text out, just say Dave Matlin, for instance. Every time we send a text out, if Dave and his wife and maybe whatever, somebody else in his house, that's 3 texts that we get charged for. So it's not like per household. So every text we send out, say Pat and his wife both get the text. That's 2 texts we get paid charged for. So I didn't realize that. I thought a text was a text, but I guess the way their systems work, that that's how it works. So, but I think we're online there. It's not going to cost us any more this year.
Hey, Ray, We're saving because my 10-month-old daughter doesn't have a cell phone yet, so she's not getting tech.
That's why I had to stop, because I knew she didn't have one yet.
By the time she's your age, she's gonna have something else to talk. It won't be a cell phone.
And electronics will be crazy then. So, but if you all understand that, that's where we're at with that. And the last thing I have is, we've talked about that recycle account. There's like $59.35 in that account. We've talked about it and talked about it. It's just another line item that Jerry gotta keep running every year, every month. And I talked to some old council people, Rhoda being one. I talked to a few other ones. I talked to Mike. Apparently that was not specified for anything other than it was just what they started. And I guess they had these visions for other things, but it never panned out. So my thoughts are to make a motion and put that $15,000 into the general account so we can get rid of another line item out of this monthly report we get. So I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion and go from there. I'd like to put
I'll
that
second it.
$15,059.35 in the general account and eliminate that recycling account.
Okay, Mr. Susterich made a motion to move the money from the recycling account to the general fund. It was seconded by Mr. Forback. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any noes? No noes, motion passed.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Forback.
Thank you, Mr. President, and that's a good segue. One of the items I wanted to talk about was the recycling 904 grant so the numbers were due to the county on March 1st. They extended that to May 1st for the accountability of numbers that we give them every year. I've been corresponding with Jerry about that, and I just saw a recent email today that he is gathering those numbers. So it looks like that's going to be, we'll have that by May. Jerry, one thing I do want to, I'll help you out with that. I think not only do we have to look at what we did last year, but we can also count other household items such as any of the clothing that the fire department has been collecting. If there's any tonnages or weight on that too, we can add it to that.
Okay.
So with that being said, we can also, go ahead.
That would be the only one I don't
Jerry.
have, because everybody else, I don't have county hauling. That's the one we're waiting on right now. So besides county hauling, I have everybody else. I have the Royal Oak for the paper. I have the cans. I have Giant Eagle. I've got all the different commercial accounts for all the different companies. The only ones I don't have are county hauling, and I'll get with Ray tomorrow and see if he can get me the number for clothing. I forgot about that one up there.
Okay. And so what we can do then is use that number to apply for the grant. So there's two reports. One goes to the county, and used to be you had to wait till September. Now you can actually file a state grant now or at the same time with this. So just to let you know about that. The other issue I wanted to let people know is that the comp plan hasn't dropped from site. Kay Pierce, who was the head of the DCED section for Allegheny County, department, not Allegheny, but anyhow, she retired, and I talked to Darla Cravata, who's the director of community relations and special projects, and we worked with her closely on the trail project. Got me in contact with another person, is Will McLean from Allegheny County, and we will be corresponding and gathering information on moving forward on the comp plan. There's also a lot of data, a lot of information that Kay had sent. I started sifting through that, and we're going to get to the point that we really, I want to reach out again to Penn Hills and Oakmont, but of course with everything going on here with COVID, that's sort of been on hold. So I just wanted to give people an update that this is moving and that, yes, we'll be looking for steering committees and everything else as this goes forward. And that's all I have.
Okay, I only have one question on this recycling. Jerry, I think you would probably be able to answer this better than anybody. The recycling, the stuff that was collected for that chair, is that considered part of the recycling?
I don't know the answer to that.
For what was that?
All the
plastic that was
plastics
empty.
and stuff that was collected for these chairs that the
The
couple
benches.
did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where do I get that information?
We can
From
put that
Rhea,
into,
from Rhea and Josh.
so get a hold of Jay on Josh and find out how much weight that they collected.
It was
Yeah.
over 600 pounds. Pat, it was over 600 pounds.
Yeah, well, I want to get an exact figure.
need the
So,
exact
but
number.
thank you.
You're
So-
welcome.
Good point. Good point, Mr.
Okay,
President.
so you can add that to it, Jerry.
Is that like on an annual basis?
No, that was just this year,
Oh.
but it's something extra, and they may do it again, maybe. So
Oh, you know what? So the issue is that this report is from last year, so for 2019. So that tonnage or that amount will go to next year's report for 2020.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right, then we'll have to remember that for next year. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And, yes.
Mr.
Okay.
Alba.
Thank you. Talking back and forth with Matt to get the parks ready. One of the things is the playgrounds. Both Cribs and Riverbank will be getting new mulching. But Cribs first, we do need to get rid of a few. There's not a whole lot of weeds up there, but we do need to get them. If we don't have anybody to spray and we're looking into like a vinegar type salt solution to get rid of them, but we still need somebody that's certified to be able to do that. So, or they can be dug out. But we would like to get it done as soon as possible because within probably the next couple weeks, that's when the mulching will be, could be done. And by the time the parks are ready to open, it would be nice to have the playground ready as well. Another thing, well, I did take a walk up there the other day. I believe that the locks have been changed because I know that order was put in back in beginning of March that the locks be changed in all the parks. Jerry, were they changed? Do you know?
I talked to AJ about it and the chief. I'll double check and make sure that they changed them. And if they did, I'll make sure the right people get a key.
Right, that's what we were, wanted to discuss too. That the keys aren't going to be spread out everywhere. I know, our maintenance guys, they need the keys, and the police. You can't have 100 keys go out like what happened before, and everybody in town has a key. It just got a little bit out of hand. The police, they open the parks every day and close them at night, so I think that would be sufficient. Also, some other discussion has been going on between different entities too about the condition of the fields and maybe adding it into our park regulations and rules, like for Cribs. Sometimes we've noticed that the fields are getting really trashed. Like they need a lot of the rolling and things like that. And it looks like it's usually after somebody's using it when there's been a lot of rain. So I think if on rainy days, maybe the fields need to be closed and we can put that in one of our parks rules. I will be going over that with the rec board for further discussion of that and see if we can add that into our park rules. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Nancy?
Can
Go
I
ahead,
like to?
Nancy.
Yeah, thank you. In terms of the keys for the parks, could we talk about that? Like, I just remember during the wrestling last year, there was a big problem because the lights needed to go on. And I think once upon a time, Dom had a key and then he didn't have a key. And, regardless of all that, I would think that besides the maintenance workers who aren't there after 3 o'clock and on the weekends, And short of calling the one lonely policeman who might be on duty that day, I'd like to see maybe yourself as the head of the Parks and Rec Committee get a key, and Trish as the head of the Rec Board get a key. And also it brings to mind accessing the electrical box in Railroad Park near the gazebo, because I think there's keys for them as well. Once upon a time, there used to be like a hiding place for it that only certain people knew, but everyone could get access to it. So, so that we're not stuck having to call the police to open an electric box. Like when we were doing popcorn for the movies, then we couldn't see. I don't know. I just like us to talk about who are those people going to be who are going to get them, and so that everybody knows who has the keys in case someone who doesn't have a key can call someone who does have a key and they could run up and open an electric box or the park or whatever.
Okay.
Well, I think Janet,
What? Hello?
You went on mute.
What's happening?
He's on mute.
okay. Am I unmuted now?
Oh, there you are.
I think you should sit down with your committee and determine on who has the who gets keys and things like that for that.
I will get with Sylvia and Dave. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
Ms. Provenza.
Thank you, Pat. Good evening. Just a few notes here. The community newsletter, we will need all of our articles by Monday, June the 1st. That would be the very last day, so that we can get everything sent over for printing, and this is our summer issue. And if anybody would like to put an ad in, please feel free to contact me. I can handle that for you. I would like to resurrect again cameras. I know this has been something in our community here that we've talked about, and then it kind of got put by the wayside. And as the chairwoman for the communication committee, I would like to meet with Dave Matlin and Janet that are on committee with me. And I would also like to invite Mike Forbeck, who is with the police committee, that we could sit down with the chief, find out where the cameras are, what condition they're in, what cameras we need, what cameras we don't need, and just see if we can get this ball rolling. I've had so many requests, people asking for cameras, and especially now with the way the world is, they're saying, you know, there's going to be looting possibly and things like that. It's just a really good idea, and we do need to be concerned about the safety of our people. Recently, there was an accident down on East Railroad Avenue, and Mayor Dave's car and also Dave Matlin's car were both hit. And the cameras there were so fuzzy, nobody could make out what car it was or what vehicle it was that hit them. So I would like to make a recommendation that we sit down with these people that I've mentioned and we get the ball rolling on this. And I've talked to Stephen Zapala. He's a wonderful person. He's very willing to work with us, and the cameras are available to us. I don't know why we're sitting on it. I would just like to move forward with this. And also website. I'd like to bring that up just real quickly. I know that we've had updates done on the website, and we certainly need more of them done. People have been asking about the website, and I'd like to make a recommendation. Dave Matlin is very skilled and very competent in that area, and I just wondered if, Jerry, maybe you would consider having him as your co-webmaster, and that maybe we can get this website up and running to full speed. I'd just like to know what your opinions are on these items.
Yeah, by all means, take it over.
No, I don't mean take it over, because you're doing a good job, and that is nothing to discredit you. I'm asking if you would like him to be a help to you. Because people keep
I
asking.
sat down and already had a conversation with Mr. Matlin. We discussed the website. We went through
Okay, well-
together and made all the updates so that everything was up to date.
No, everything is not up to date. Our president's email is still incorrect.
All
I
right,
wasn't
let's
aware-
move on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up, Mr. Provenza.
Excuse me, Pat. Jerry, I was not aware that you had a conversation with him. I just put this out because people have questioned me on the website. And I just thought about it and I thought, well, maybe Dave would be able to help you. I was not asking you to leave that position, not at all. That wasn't the case. But I did want to add one other thing, and then I'll close off on my report. I was not aware, and I don't know if anybody else is, Trinity Lutheran Church, which is here on the corner of South and Allegheny River Boulevard, has what they call the blessing box. And when you're looking at the building from Allegheny River Boulevard, to the right of the door is a window. And they have put food in there. It's like a little food bank of theirs called the Blessing Box. And if anyone needs food, all they have to do is open that window and take a box of food and then just close the window. And they're also asking if anyone can give some donation of food, they would really, really appreciate it, because there's a lot of people apparently using that blessing box. So if anyone's able to help, they would more than graciously appreciate it. I thank you very much, Mr. President, and that is my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Okay. Do we have anybody that has any comments from the public?
I think Ray had something.
Pat, if I could 1 second, touch on
Go ahead.
with Janet, with their Parks and Rec.
Go ahead.
One of the reasons we got into the dilemma we did with all the keys out was because everybody had a key. We gave them to the rec board, we gave them to the Laura Valley football people. We've gone over there numerous times on stormy days, and the Laura Valley football Sunday morning is tearing the field up. And then they're the ones coming to us complaining. So my suggestion would be have a key or 2 or 3, and that's it. Figure out who to give it to. I think we get too many keys out, and we're going to run into more problems again. You're just defeating the purpose. That's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any comments from the public?
Yeah, it looks like we have one from Joey and one from Rhoda.
Okay.
I'll put Joey on first.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. President and Council, I do have a couple of questions I put through the Q&A. During discussion, I know it's not public forum, so there's not a chance to stand up. I did ask 3 questions, if I could have them answered. The first one was, does the borough store any pesticides, or is anyone on the crew certified to administer the pesticides on any properties within the municipality? I had another question for the budget, which was, when will the borough see the effects of March and April EIT? I'm not sure what that delay is for us to know if revenue's up or down. And then also a question of concern for the use of parks. Organized sports, I know I've had cancellation for my kids on sports. They've returned the fees. They're not having any contact with the kids, and also schools are canceled. So I didn't know what's going to drive you and the borough's decision to open the public parks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joey, I'll get back to you with those answers.
I'm sorry, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I said I will get back to you with the answers to those questions that I can.
I'd actually appreciate a public forum response for anyone else viewing in or looking at this later, because I think in a month's time, I think this will be more timely. And I appreciate a response. I know it might not be an answer, but some of these things I think you can answer to the best of your knowledge while this is in a public forum.
I don't know about the pesticides. To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Don't know what the money is, and a lot of the recreational stuff will be dictated by the governor.
I can answer. I mean, as far as the EIT, we are anticipating that it's going to slow things down. I don't know how much. I don't know how badly. I would say over the next couple of months, when we receive EIT throughout the month, and we do financial reports at the beginning of every month. So we compare it year over year, every year. So I would expect that we'll start to see that. However, most of the time EIT is paid quarterly. So none of that is really due until the end of this month. So we probably won't know anything really until, I guess, the May regular meeting.
Appreciate it. I know that's, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure of the frequency. That was helpful, Jerry. Thank you. President, I think just at this point, then if there's not an answer for it, as a resident, I'd just like to say if you guys would err towards caution, if it does come from, the governor releasing pieces for public use, and it's up to the discretion of council within a municipality, I would err towards caution. As a resident, I would ask that. So I think if this is a chance just to share that sentiment, I would. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next one. Any others?
Yeah, Rhoda.
Go ahead, Rhoda.
Now, okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The first one,
What happened?
Oh, wait,
Can't
hold on.
hear.
Hold on, hold on.
Wait, Rhoda.
Sorry, Rhoda, I was trying to put Joey back under attendees and I clicked you instead. You're muted, but go ahead.
unmute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Making reference to the website, on your cell phone, it's not mobile friendly. I cannot get onto the website with my phone. So I don't know if that needs to be addressed soon. Also, there's some information there that, like past presidents' pictures are still on there. So I'm not sure if you got a company to redo the website. I'd be curious to see how much you paid him because some of the information is outdated. If it's something we could look into. Is that it? Okay. And then the phone message, when you call the borough, this is just a suggestion, maybe to give more updated information because it's the old phone message. It's just a suggestion. And also with the recycling money, I was talking to Ray about it. Though we hadn't really earmarked it for anything specific, it would really be super great if you could give some of that money, perhaps a third of it, since there's so much, to the Flower Club. I think it's important that the beautification of Verona should be encouraged by the council, and the business district should be inviting to cars passing by, and hopefully it encourages young people to buy homes in Verona if they see that we're conscientious about keeping it more pristine. So I don't know if that's something that I know you voted about putting it in the general fund, and that's all well and good, but it would really, really help us if you could support the Flower Club, and help us out. Yeah, for the sake of the town. It's nothing, an individual, one person in particular. It's like for all of us. And the last item that I have is the code enforcement report. It would really be nice to see what properties are being addressed. That's it. Thank you for listening. Can we have some answers, or I don't know if I'm asking too soon, or if you have to discuss about the money for the Flower Club?
I wanted to, can I add something to that, please?
Okay.
I think that the garden club is pretty much broke. They used every penny they had to buy the flowers for the baskets that are coming, unless it's been rescheduled for some reason. I know, Angela, you're in the audience. I think they're coming like May 20th or May 22nd or something like that. But we're out. We're done. We have no money. We weren't able to do the thing at the bingo this year. So And we weren't able to do any other fundraisers. We were gonna do our own bingo, but that's been canceled because of the virus. And we would like to, we sometimes get donations of flowers from like Lowe's and Home Depot, and we don't really feel comfortable asking businesses that are struggling to give donations. So it would be helpful to have some of that money to buy flowers for the Veterans Wall and maybe do some stuff around the Doughboy, that kind of thing. We were gonna maybe resort to adopt a planter instead of getting flowers the same for every planter. But if we had that money, we could just do all the planters as well. So, you know, let's consider that. I'd be willing to make a motion unless you guys want more time to think about it.
I think we need to discuss this further.
Can we discuss it now?
It could take all night, Nancy, to discuss that.
I would
Really?
say that we don't know what the earned income tax implications are going to be with this unemployment. I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that Lowe's and Home Depot are really hurting real bad. If you've been there, if you've seen on the news, they've lines. I don't think asking for Lowe's and Home Depot to donate flowers is that big of an issue. You're not asking a mom and pop store.
I think we need to make sure that, I understand the garden club, I don't have a problem with it, but I need to make sure, and I believe that we need to make sure that financially we're okay before we take care of other things. So I think we need to wait a little bit of time on that.
How long do you think we need to
I
wait?
don't know, Nancy. I can't answer that question because I don't know how the
Okay.
money situation is for the borough at this point.
I understand. It just, we can't plant the flowers in August.
I understand that.
So we might not have any flowers for the Veterans Wall this year, that's all.
I hope we do. But
Okay.
I think, do we put the money into the flowers and then find out that later down the road, we don't have money to pay bills? A couple $1,000s short. So I think we got to look at the totality of the circumstances. This is unusual times, and as a result of that, we need to be a little bit more cautious at times.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you're right. Flowers at the Veterans Wall is not that high up on the priority. So I just wanted to get clear about where people were thinking about it, because if we can't have flowers there, then, you know, that's the sacrifice we make because we're in, you know, having this condition of the country and the world.
Okay, anything else?
Joey has his hand up and so does Rhoda, up and down. I don't know. No, there's no hands up. I'm confused. Rhoda has her hand up.
All right, she had her 3 minutes. We're going to go back to Rhoda again. As far as code enforcement.
What are you going to do, Press?
Just
Go ahead.
Unmute yourself, Rhoda.
Yeah, there you go. As far as the economy, according to the reports that Jerry gives, I think 5,000 can be spared for the flowers. And again, this is for everybody. It's not just for the flower club. We're doing it for everyone. And 5,000 is really not a lot of money to ask for.
Rhoda, I understand that, but I think we have to look at the totality of the circumstances right now. And I don't mean to be nasty, but that's the way I feel about it.
Maybe we can get donations for the flowers for the memorial.
We could pass the basket.
We certainly could. Okay. Are there any others? Anything else? I need a motion to adjourn this meeting then.
I'll make the motion.
Mike Forback made a motion. Mrs. Provenza seconded. Are there any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No nos? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.